Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today I wanted to go over a topic that I think I've talked about before, not entirely sure, but it's definitely a topic that is relevant, and that is each of the member benefits. Now if you don't know, there are multiple member benefits in this game that can potentially come in handy and do actually unlock some pretty cool benefits for that short period of time that they're activated. Today I wanted to go over each of them, what I think about them, and then ranking them kind of by how useful they are, because I really want to stress which ones are important and which ones you should make use of for the short time that they're active. Now, if you don't know what member benefits are for some reason, basically once a week during the weekend, KI gives members a specific benefit. This ranges from things like double XP to unlimited crafting to no energy fishing. Each of these has varying levels of use, and usually it lasts about 3 days. It'll usually be activated on Friday at some point and then goes Saturday, Sunday, and then shuts off around noontime on Monday. Now, I don't know if it's noontime on Monday just for me. It could be like 9 in the morning PST. I'm not entirely sure, but I can tell you that it is still active by noon Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So there is that. And basically these member benefits are these just little cool things that give you bonuses that you can do at the time. So without further ado, let's get into the actual video and talk about each of the member benefits. Starting off with double pet XP. Now this one probably should be incredibly obvious, but this is one of the most useful of the member benefits of all time. If you are a member, you really want to make use of double pet XP when it's active, and it shouldn't really be a question why. Training up a pet can be extremely difficult. It can be really painful, and getting up that good pet will take a long time. It'll take a lot of hatches, but if you have double pet XP, it makes it much faster and much easier to train up that perfect pet. So for example, I have this pet here, which is at least decent. It's not bad, and I actually trained this up in a video I made about a week ago when double pet XP was active. You might have seen, but it took me about 2 energy elixirs to get up to this mega point because I had a lot of mega snacks, and I very easily just trained up this pet so that it had maximum amounts of talent. It was really easy, and double pet XP is just worth it in that regard. My favorite method for actually using this and training pets in general is to create a new wizard and quest them up, and the reason why, if you didn't know, is twofold. One, every quest you beat, you get 4 pet XP, which is definitely useful for newer wizards because you go through a lot of quests really fast. Like by Crocotopia, you'll probably have about 400 pet XP just from doing about 100 quests. And second is the fact that every time you level up, it fully restores your energy. So technically, you get an energy elixir every single level. This is super useful, obviously, even at early levels when you only have like 20 or so energy, but you can get up very fast, and at later levels, it is very useful. Like anything Arc 2 post, you can train up a pet multiple times, and with double pet XP, this just goes even faster. So in terms of ranking, I would put this at 10 out of 10 in terms of usefulness. It's just really good for getting up a pet, and you definitely want to do it when it is active. Next is unlimited crafting and double reagents, and this one is really good for one reason and one reason alone, and that is catching your crafting up to maximum level. If you're not already a maximum level of crafting, whenever it's double reagents unlimited crafting, that is your time to go, because obviously it is very easy to then catch up to that maximum ranking. I believe that's how I did it on my myth. I waited until it was unlimited crafting, and I just crafted all of everything up. It's useful because without that cooldown, obviously you don't need to wait the hour to 2 hour long time periods that you usually would have to wait before crafting another thing. It's incredibly useful in that regard, and it's just really solid. Now, in terms of the double reagents factor of it, it's actually really good as well for 2 reasons. One, getting a bunch of common reagents that are laying on the ground, like maybe scrap iron or black lotus, something along those lines, or, and this is probably the bigger one, is farming alchemical extract and alchemical salts and just alchemical ingredients in general from detritus and the catacombs. If you don't know, obviously getting dragoon gear is a really important step of actually getting up to max gear and farming. Obviously I don't have the dragoon amulet yet because I didn't manage to farm for it in time when double reagents was out, but next time double reagents is out, I'll definitely farm up for the dragoon amulet. But the point is that this is your time to actually get these reagents, because these reagents can be pretty difficult to get otherwise and is very much a slower process without double reagents. So I would highly recommend, when double reagents is active, just farming detritus and getting up that Dragoon gear, because it is definitely worth getting. So in terms of usefulness, I would actually rank this one 10 out of 10 as well, maybe a 9 out of 10. It's not necessarily as useful as double pet XP, but it's definitely still extremely useful. Next up is double gardening rewards, and this one I cannot stress enough just how useful this one is. Now I will say this isn't as overpowered and broken as it used to be. If you don't know, back in the day you used to get double the amount of seeds as well, which means there are some people out there that have hundreds and hundreds of evil magma peas and couch potato seeds, because every single time they gardened it duplicated, and now they have a massive amount of seeds. Obviously that can't be done anymore, which is kind of tragic, but what can be done is you getting double the amount of mega snacks. Now I have an evil magma pea farm, and when it was double gardening recently, I harvested it, and it's just really solid. It's good to be able to get like, 30 to 40 of those mega snacks from just my simple farm rather than the 20 that you usually get. And obviously there are people that have even bigger farms, like people who have that 69 plot, who are getting a massive like 140 mega snacks, which will last you quite a long time just from that double gardening. I will say this is probably one of the most useful, and it's useful on top of that for things like getting amber and stuff like that. I'm going to put gardening at 10 out of 10 in terms of usefulness as well. I think it is definitely one of the more useful ones. Next up, we have zero energy fishing, and this is one I've actually never made use of, but I've heard of some people making use of. I would say that this one isn't nearly as useful as the first three, but can be useful in certain situations. I would say the main aspects of this that you might want to do, first off, is catching your fishing up to the maximum level and getting your fishing up, so there is that. Second is going for an item or something like that that you want. If you didn't know, you can fish for code wands in Elephant Graveyard, so that's something that a lot of people like doing. I know that I have been interested in the past, but I've just never really done it. I might do it next time zero energy fishing rolls around, but there's that. And then there's also fishing for mega snacks. If you didn't know, certain mega snacks can be crafted from fishing. I don't know if I actually have one of the recipes. I don't, but there are recipes out there, and I've gone over them in the past, where you can transmute fish into mega snacks, like tier 9 mega snacks, and it's really solid. I would rank fishing probably more a 7 out of 10 in terms of usefulness. It can be useful if you want some of those mega snacks, and it can definitely be useful if you want those code ones, but realistically it's not that useful. It's not that good. It's just mediocre. Now we're getting into some of the less useful ones and kind of the more run-of-the-mill ones, I would say. Starting off with free training point buyback. Now this one is useful for some people. If you're a kid and you didn't really know what to spend your training points on and you bought a ton of random stuff, it's useful in that regard for buying back training points. Or if you just teched into the wrong thing and you want something different, obviously you can buy back your training points and nothing is wrong with that. But if you're like me and you kind of know what you want to tech into and you've teched into the same things for quite a few years now, you really don't have a reason to, and I haven't for a very long time. I don't think I've bought back training points for free training point buyback in a very long time. Since my fire went for the Master of Shape badge from the Moon School is probably the last time, because obviously I don't want a ton of useless moon spells there, but that's really it. I would say that this one's like a 5 out of 10. Useful in certain situations, but definitely not all the time. Next, we have double scroll of fortune points, and this one is maybe useful to you. It could be, potentially. I don't really think so. If you want to get this teleport effect, sure. If you want to get some of the spell elements here, sure. But realistically, I don't find this to be super useful. Like, some of these items are cool. Some of them are definitely worth potentially getting. But is it really worth, doing double scroll of fortune points? I don't know. I would say maybe if you're interested in scroll of fortune, sure, this one can be useful. I'll rank this one at a 5 out of 10 as well. Situational, whether you care about scroll of fortune or not. I particularly don't. I think scroll of fortune is kind of meh. Like, in a lot of cases, it's just kind of there. I wouldn't really say that there's anything worth doing for this. Potentially, like, getting stuff like double pet XP could be cool, but otherwise, not really. So I will say that this one's another 5 out of 10. Depends on you. Now we're getting into truly the kind of bottom of the barrel ones, the ones that aren't really that useful. Starting off with the first free chest roll. If you don't know, basically those kind of chests at the end of certain dungeons and bosses, you can re-roll the chest once for free during this time. It can be useful, especially if you're farming something like Darkmoor or something like that, where the chest will definitely come in handy. That could be useful, but only one reroll per day, I believe it is, isn't really anything that good. If you think about it, say you're doing like tens of Malistaire runs per day. Like, say you do 15 Malistaire runs in one day, will that 16th run really matter with that double chance roll? I don't know, and either way, that chest doesn't give you as many items as the drop itself would. I know that that doesn't seem likely, but that is kind of how it works. Like from Morgant, say, I have gotten probably like 5 to 6 items at a time, and the chest only gives you a maximum of 2 or 3. So realistically, I would say it's not that useful. It's like a 3 out of 10 in my eyes. Nothing super good, but it's there if you want to use it. It's something cool that could potentially be useful at the time if you're just farming. Now we have the 2 final ones, and I'm just going to kind of talk about these lumped together because both of them are pretty much useless. There is double Monstrology XP, and I believe it's triple Animus. I think that that's how it works. It might be double Animus still. There is that one, and then there is extra daily assignment rewards. Both of these are not good at all. Daily assignments can be useful. I think sometimes you can get a spellproof jewel, which could be incredibly useful, obviously. I think it's not a bad idea to do daily assignments in a lot of cases. I don't really, but you know, you may want to. So I would say that that's an option if you want. I would rank that one's usefulness more like a 1 or 2 out of 10. It's just not that useful to most people, but it's there if you want it. And then finally, Monstrology is going to have to be the 0 out of 10 usefulness. Monstrology is completely useless in a lot of cases, I would say. It's not really that compelling. It's the Pokedex feature, but kind of worse for Wizard101. I would say that it's kind of mediocre. It's really mediocre. It's like a 0 out of 10 for me. Whenever that member benefit's going on, I kind of just ignore it, as I'm sure 99% of the people do. But that's it. I hope that you learned something today from my kind of rankings of each member benefit and kind of what you should do with them. Again, I would say that the first 4 that I did are the most useful ones at all, and when those are on, you definitely want to kind of pay attention and potentially do some of what the member benefits are allowing. But otherwise, that is it. Let me know if you enjoyed / found this useful in the comments below, but thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.